Hello, and welcome to the Nate Stories Podcast, Episode 9. Today we've got a special guest for you, Giorgio Fareira. He's a friend that I've known since high school. He's a musician and overall talented person. Instead of my rambling, we're just going to go straight into the interview, or discussion. Yeah! Enjoy it! Sweet. I have Giorgio Fareira on the line.
That's me.
And Giorgio, I've known Giorgio for a long time. He's a musician and person extraordinaire.
Extraordinary person is another way to put it.
So I mispronounced it, extraordinary person. And we've collaborated a lot. Like, I've made videos for his songs, and he's done songs for my videos, and
we've been in skits together, improv skits, and written skits.
Mm-hmm.
We were both in bands when we were in high school.
Your band's outside of school.
Your band, yeah, not like high school band, like cool band. Like, let's go to the show and see this band. Joe Soup was the name of your band, right, Nate?
And yours was Push for Coin.
Like, how would you describe
I think
Joe
we were
Soup?
a funk jam band where we just kind of did what we wanted. So, here's a random story. I'm about to tell a story, not you.
Ooh, let's hear it.
We would sign up for just shows, just anywhere we could get them, just like email places that were like local venues and be like, can we play? And they're like, sure. So this one place was called The Barn in Ridgefield, Connecticut. And so we were like, let's do the show. So he showed up, and it was a goth metal kids show, and everybody in the audience was like wearing all black clothes, and the bands are heavy metal and like super distorted guitars and grunge singing. And we were not that style at all. We were just like a bunch of goofballs. We set up to play in front of all these people that were completely not our crowd, and we were like, what are we supposed to do? They were nothing like what they want. And we were like, let's just play the Ghostbusters theme. And so we opened with the Ghostbusters, and everybody who even was hanging out outside came inside, and they crowded around us. It was like 50 kids, and they just were singing the Ghostbusters theme with us.
Right.
But you're in a current band now. You're not in Push for Coin.
Yeah.
I'm not in Joe Soup. But Giorgio has a new band.
Well, but, yeah. It's not... Okay, I'm going to be that guy. I want it to be a collective. I don't know that it's there yet. But really, so I have an album. I'll just say that. The name of the project is The Interstate Life.
The band.
And it's just me making music. That's the band project, whatever you want to call it. And so I just recently did a soft release of my first full-length album called The Silent Siren. You can find it on Bandcamp. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Play, anywhere on the internet, basically, that you can download music and buy music. You can find it and listen to it. So please do check it out. On the album, I played probably about 80% of the instruments. Did all the drums, most of the vocals. I have some guest vocals. Most of the guitar, all the acoustic guitar, all the bass. Then I had some friends come in and play keys. Nate wasn't around, so I had to get somebody else to play keys. Yeah, sorry, Nate. Next time, though.
I did play keyboards on one of your songs. But you brought me... There's
did
you did a studio version of Whoa, which coincidentally is the one I did a stick figure animation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I forgot about that.
Giorgio was like, come to the studio in Norwalk. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And we recorded me fiddling around on keyboard.
Yeah, I totally forgot you played keys on that random. I hate that version.
It's all my fault.
It's not your fault. It's the producer's fault. He had stupid ideas, and I didn't know how to say no.
Yeah, it was a weird session. With your latest CD or collection.
Yes.
What's is there like an overarching theme to all the songs, or is it just a collection of songs you've written?
Well, it's actually a concept album that sort of tells the story of my first love and also about how I came to know Jesus at the same time and how it was very confusing, me trying to figure out what love is as I grew up. So it's kind of like a coming-of-age story type thing. So, if you're into concept albums, you might enjoy it. There's a dramatic scene at one point with me and V-Seth.
Oh, yeah.
With an actual conversation. Yeah, an actual conversation we really
Wait, is that the actual recording of it?
I wish, but no. It's a reenactment of the conversation.
So one thing with me and Giorgio, or Giorgio and I, proper grammar, is he was my first tennis rival.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a rivalry. Me just beating the crap out of you all the time in tennis. Is that really
what we would do is it started off with us in the summers playing Mario Tennis on GameCube. And then one day we were like, why don't we go play real tennis? And
yeah, I remember that. And you were one of few people who beat me in Mario Tennis.
Yeah, I could beat him in Mario Tennis, but in real tennis, I could absolutely do nothing.
Nope. I'm going to go ahead and go to Facebook right now. So
no.
I can get... I'm doing it. So I can get the actual stats. Because I posted them on Facebook for everybody to see. All right. So what year would that have been? Like
2010?
Yeah.
Around, I think it was summer of 2009 or 2010.
All right. I'm in 2009 right now. I'm going to get to the summer, and we'll see what's happening here. There's a lot of pictures.
I know there's one picture from then when a whole group of us went out to play tennis, and we drank soda on the court, and we were just like all wearing pants and the wrong shoes, and we were just diddling around.
Yep. It was bad. I mean, I don't think any of us cared.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it...
We for sure got weird looks.
I wouldn't call it tennis. Oh, my description makes it sound like something completely different.
It was tennis. Oh, man. So I didn't find any stats yet, but I did find a post from July 18th, 2009. And just imagine there are a bunch of random all caps here in the middle of words and some words. But it says, hey, I'm Giorgio, and I just got slaughtered in tennis by Nate. I'm crying. Help.
Well, you heard it here first, everybody. Giorgio was beat in tennis in the summer of 2009.
Which was clearly Nate hacking my Facebook account.
No, I think it was the Russians.
It might have been the Russians. Nate colluding with the Russians to hack my Facebook account in 2009.
Well, we were doing the hacking now, but we were hacking the past. So.
Oh, hack to the future.
I've already said too much.
Let's see. I'm still going to keep looking for these posts. I know they're out there because I loved to trash talk you on the internet.
It might have been the next year, I think.
It might have been.
Because I know the reason that I ended up beating you, which you completely gave me zero satisfaction when I actually did. You're just like,
yep.
Whatever. And then you stopped wanting to play me. Then what we would also do is talk about pro tennis back in the day. I remember we would watch the Federer and Djokovic matches.
Yep. And I always told you that joke ain't no joke.
Mm-hmm. You actually said that Federer you saw him play in 2008. You're like, he's going to be it.
Oh, no, it was way earlier than that. It was like 2003 or 4. Mm-hmm. And he hadn't even started winning yet, really. Like, he was getting beat by Roddick pretty much all the time. And then he was the first one to figure out how to return Roddick's serve. And then he started beating everybody at that point. But yeah, I was stuck in Massachusetts one weekend, and my dad, he was in the Air Force, and so I had to stay on the Air Force base. And I didn't have, there were no people my age up there. It was in 9th or 10th grade. And so I was just by myself all day, and all there was a TV in the lounge, not even in the room that we were staying in. So I had to go to the lounge, and there's a TV with literally like 3 channels. So I basically could watch soap operas, daytime TV, or tennis. And I was like, all right, I probably flipped past it and like debated watching The Static a couple times too, but eventually landed on the tennis, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And so the first match I ever watched, it was Federer versus Fareira. And I was like, oh, that's cool because both their names are like my last name. So this is my 10th grade mind. I'm like, all right, one of these guys has to be my favorite player. So I'm going to pick whoever wins this match is going to be my favorite player forever.
This is some real scientific logic for picking
Yeah, it was, and it worked. And so Federer won the match, and I was like, sweet, he's my favorite player. Then the next day, or the day after that, he plays Roddick and just got freaking destroyed, like absolutely destroyed. But I was like, you know what? I already made up my mind. This Federer guy, he's my favorite. I'm going to stick with him. And how would I know that years later he would go on to become literally the greatest tennis player of all time, even just won Wimbledon again. Mm-hmm. Like, come on now.
But before we get to the current state, because you also predicted Djokovic just starting to dominate Federer later.
Yeah, I did. And I have Facebook proof of that as well. Mm-hmm. With my joke ain't no joke post. The year before, Djokovic had his greatest year in tennis, which is arguably one of the greatest years any tennis player has ever had. He won like 94 matches and lost 2.
Yeah.
That whole year. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a tennis oracle, if you will.
So now with this year, 2017, Federer and Nadal are both resurgent. Djokovic I think he's taking the rest of the year off with an elbow injury.
Yeah.
I don't know about Murray. I know you've never liked Murray.
Don't like Murray.
And the top 10 that we grew up knowing about are all starting to kind of drop out.
What kind of sucks about that is like nobody's really stepping up.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, who's going to be who's the next generation guy that you're picking?
I don't know, man, because I don't want to pick any of them because they can't beat my guys right now. Like, normally you got to take the torch. You can't just wait until the torch falls and then go pick it up off the ground. Mm-hmm. You gotta grab that thing, man. So none of the guys are really doing that right now. I love Nishikori, but he's so inconsistent. I love Raonic. He's also inconsistent. Raonic. I like his hair. I think that's really all it is.
That is why I like tennis players. It's the same thing where it's really pedantic little things where I'm like, I like. Usually for me, it's if they're left-handed. Hairstyle is pretty big. General demeanor.
General demeanor?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I've been watching How I Met Your Mother a lot lately, which you got me into in the first place, if I remember correctly.
Probably.
All those years ago.
We used to exchange shows. We still exchange music. Mostly me sending you a text like every 2 months being like, bands.
Yeah, and I try to think of bands that you'll like, and I always pick at least one that I know you won't like and send it to you anyway.
Yeah, I need some more music, but I'll send you that text later.
Oh, no problem. You just got to listen to that new Canadian Softball. That's like probably album of the year right there.
New Canadian Softball?
Yeah, Awkward and Depressed by Canadian Softball. It is beautiful. I'm just going to say real quick, I'm still scrolling through my Facebook. I've been scrolling for at least minutes, and it started in December, and I'm in September now.
Facebook was pretty big back then, and it's weird now whenever I see people on their phones doing social media stuff, because I'm always like, why aren't you in the real world? But then I think back to those, like, when we were really using Facebook and posting a lot, and we were probably like that, just not on our phones.
I didn't have a smartphone until 2012, so...
Neither did I. But still, Facebook and that stuff, it was very integral to being a young millennial.
apparently.
Actually,
Yeah.
I don't even think we've mentioned it. I live in New York City. Giorgio lives in Alabama.
I totally forgot that you live in New York City. First of all, Birmingham is only technically it's Alabama because it's in the Alabama state lines, but like the culture and the society here is not Alabama at all. It's very progressive and liberal and lots of hipsters and young money and different communities.
Is there like a super pro-Trump or negative Trump?
Well, our county voted for Hillary. Absolutely, our city did. But obviously that doesn't matter in the end. The state went red. So that's what I mean, too. And, like, you could even see it if you follow. I don't really like politics, but every now and then I'll catch a headline about something about Birmingham. And there's a lot of headlines with Birmingham. Like, for instance, when I first moved here 2 years ago, Birmingham was like, we're going to raise the minimum wage in Birmingham. Just in Birmingham. Not forcing their ideas on anybody. They're just like, yeah, we think this is important, so we're going to do it so we can help businesses and people in our city thrive. And what happens 3 months later? The state passes a law that no city within the state can change their minimum wage. Yeah.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why? What? That seems like a very specific law for the state to pass.
Oh, it does it? So that's basically my point. Birmingham is not Alabama. Even Alabama doesn't want to claim Birmingham because, they're what you think when you think Alabama. Like, the majority of the state is that. Even the other cities, Mobile and Montgomery, are mostly like that. But Birmingham is not. Birmingham is weird. It's like the Austin of Alabama.
I was about to say that. And you are from Houston, so you know your Texas.
I do. I know me some Texas. I loves me some Texas. I still say howdy, and even people here are like, what? What did you say to me?
Really?
But, yeah, dude, howdy's a Texas thing. It's not a Southern thing.
Well, I mean, Texas is like its own country.
Yes, and that's important to note, too, for you, Nate, and you listeners out there. Southern and Texan, completely different. Texas is not the South. Texas is Texas. Even the people in the South will agree and admit that. Like, Texas is its own thing. And, of course, people from Texas will say that because there's so much state pride.
Okay. Finally found one. Here we go. Good transition here.
But let's see. So it's just Giorgio Fareira 7, Nate Ziller 0. And I think that's about as high as that number got. I think that's worth bragging about, if you ask me.
It's a similar Federer-Roddick thing where Roddick dominated at the beginning, but then Federer figured it out, and then Roddick retired early. And Federer kept going. Me being Federer and Giorgio being Roddick, because Giorgio stopped playing me at a certain point. After these 13 or however many times you beat me, when I finally did win, his reaction was so subdued. It was just like, oh, all right. And I was like, I've been training to do this.
You had the Rocky montage going on in your head for literally years. And then you accomplished the goal, and it's just everybody packs up and goes home.
I think Bobby, one of our mutual friends, was also on the court, and he was also just kind of like, yeah, it was a tennis match. I remember that moment more than actually the match itself.
I know it was part of the mind game to, like, demoralize you. When you started winning during the match, I would just stop caring, and that worked a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I started looking like I didn't care, and then you got frustrated and started making mistakes, and then I came back and whooped you.
I think your biggest mistake was telling me that back in the day.
Although it was entertaining to see, like, part of it to me too is I'm a little bit of a sociopath. I don't know if people know that. I don't know if you figured that out over the years.
It was that time when you murdered me?
Okay, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm a homicidal sociopath. But yeah, so I really enjoyed watching you struggle to beat me at things. That's why we play Soul Calibur and Mario Kart and tennis and all those things, is because you're very competitive, and I'm really not that competitive, which is why it was easy for me not to care when you finally beat me, because I'm not that competitive. I just really enjoyed watching you be emotionally distraught. So, that's what I was in it for, to be honest. So the real reason I stopped playing you wasn't because I was butthurt. It was because you were happy, and that's not as fun to watch as when you're
You also just never practiced tennis. You just like reached a skill where you could hit a really good flat forehand, and you had your lazy tennis where you keep the ball in, but then you just never. You're like, oh yeah, this is good enough for me.
Yeah, and I learned it just from watching Federer mainly, because he's the best player. He's my favorite, and so my lazy tennis was developed from his like pace changing backhand thing that he would do, where like you'd have dudes like Roddick, the other side powerhouse, just hitting these crazy hard forehands, and he just kind of floats it back, nice little backhand. So they're using all this energy, and he's just like, yeah. And then once he gets that opportune shot, he'll smash a crazy shot that you don't see coming that changes the pace. And so that's what I was trying to emulate with my lazy tennis, and I think it worked okay for the most part until you figured it out.
I basically became Nadal, and, where I just
you can't use every shot that I hit. Yeah, May 30th of 2010 was 4-0, and it was a very close match. I actually have the stats here. It was 6. Yeah, I wrote them in a comment. 6-4, 6-4. 3-6.
I actually took a set from you.
You took a set from me, and better than I took from you, and I ended up winning it in a tiebreaker.
Wow, that's surprising. I thought they were much more. You were dominating me more. That's even worse.
They usually were. Well, here's the thing. I said, first of all, that was a 5-set match that only went 4 sets. And I said it was very close in all caps.
Fucking asshole.
If that's very close.
I think we should close out the podcast because we've been talking a while. And yeah. So I think any last statement, Giorgio, before I stop this recording?
Well, just make sure, everybody out there, that you eat healthy. Consider doing yoga. You don't have to actually do it, but just consider doing it, and it's just as good as actually doing it. And meditate and eat organic. And remember that all things are good, and you can be all things to all people, because you are all and in all. Thank you.
That was pretty deep. That's from the philosopher Giorgio Fareira.
Yes, but in the meantime, go check out The Silent Siren by The Interstate Life on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Bandcamp, all those things. Just check it out. And if you liked it, then subscribe to Nate's channel.
Yeah, and Giorgio also has a YouTube channel, which he hasn't uploaded anything to in a while because he's...
YouTube is... I'm mad at YouTube.
Wait, what did YouTube do?
YouTube and the way that they handle their money is... I don't like it, and I don't want to make them any more money. So that's why I stopped making videos. If you really want to know. Secret's out. That's why. And I do still get comments on a lot of my videos of a lot of people asking, why am I not making videos? And yes, I'm reading them. I read them all. I read every single comment. So keep making them. I'm not going to make any more videos, but you can keep commenting.
There's actually, even though we're supposed to close out the podcast, this is making me think of our YouTube subscriber race back in whenever 2012. Yeah. So people know me for my animations, and I've had a few viral videos, mostly Scatman related. And so I had a certain amount of subscribers. I don't remember, like 7,000. And Giorgio had his own music channel. And then he had a viral video. And then his subscribers started to catch up to mine. And then for a brief period, he overtook me.
I'm never going to catch you. Well, I am probably, just so you people know, you people. You know, look at me degrading you. You wonderful humans.
Well, you personally.
I'm probably going to release... No, I am definitely going to release the album on YouTube, like everybody's doing these days, when I get the physical CDs done, which probably won't be months. But, you know, for now, you can just still listen to it on Spotify.
I'm actually pretty sure it's already on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it automatically goes onto, like, a weird YouTube channel when you submit things through CD Baby, so... Technically it is, but I'm going to put them on my own actual YouTube channel when the actual CD release happens. So be excited, I guess. Nate, actually, let me ask you this. You can put this on or not, putting you on the spot. But have you seen how big bands have been doing that? How they've been releasing like these official audio YouTube videos of their songs?
That's it.
So they're like semi-animated most of the time. Would you be interested in like doing that?
Yes.
For me? Awesome.
This wasn't pre-scripted.
Yeah.
Just
It wasn't. I just thought about it. I think it'd be really
send
cool.
me
A little collaboration.
Song, any ideas you have, and we can make something simple and just stick it up.
Yes, I like that. So there's something for you Nate Stories fans to look forward to. Collaboration.
Oh, it was my pleasure. We'll bring you back for our one listener.
Also, thumbs up and comment if this episode is better than Dan Siegerman's episode. I need to know that. For me personally.
Well, we're going to have to get you and Dan on the podcast at the same time and just see what happens.
Well, it won't be as good as this one, but it'll be better than Dan by himself. So, yeah, let's do that. All right,
and I think we'll wrap it up. So I'll turn off the recording. Any last word for 5 seconds?
Don't stop the recording.
Dang it! You stopped the recording. Since that was such a long conversation, I'm just going to close out the podcast here. No questions this week. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Sweet.